Just watched the Louder with Crowder video on rape culture as a myth. Here's a response, and here's concrete evidence that rape culture does indeed exist. Here we go. When you search on Metro PD's websites or college campuses' websites on the recourses that they recommend to women on how to best respond and handle rape, you will find these recourses listed. They recommend that women, in the immediate term, use a ballpoint pen, weapons of opportunity such as keys, and then they recommend scratching, and they recommend having your keys out before you walk to the car, and they'll even go so far as to recommend such crap as to not fight back so as not to provoke the attacker further. They will even go so far as to recommend, and you can search this, urinating oneself so as to disenfranchise a rapist. And then afterwards, after the rape, they recommend going to a hospital, calling 911, having the hospital conduct a rape kit to gain DNA evidence and evidence of bruising and tearing. And then taking an immediate police report. They also recommend not going home and not changing one's clothes. This is an example of rape culture. The definition of rape culture, as provided by academia and Louder with Crowder, is a culture that endorses or condones or tolerates rape. What colleges should be doing, what Metro PD departments should be doing, is informing women especially, but men, all Americans, of the full rights that they have under the law. And then the potential victims have the options. They have informed consent of the options available to them to defend themselves against all attacks, including rape. In this country, Americans of all ages have the right to use lethal force when faced with a lethal and immediate threat, but that also includes maiming and rape. So for colleges to tell women that their options that they recommend are limited to weapons of opportunity, scratching, and mind you, the reason they endorse scratching is because they want the DNA evidence under your fingernail, which implies that you died, which implies that you fought back and sort of lost. That's why they endorse the fingernails. It's for the coroner and the medical examiner. So by colleges not recommending and not informing and not educating men and women the full rights they have under the United States Constitution and the law, this is in and of itself a tolerance of rape. By them injecting their politics into the recommended recourses, this is rape culture. What they should be saying is taking their politics out of it and saying, when faced with a lethal and immediate threat, including maiming and rape, you have the option of using lethal and immediate force. Depending on the state that you're in, you may have a duty to retreat, you may have stand your ground, you may have castle doctrine. What do all those things mean? But by colleges omitting that information, they are perpetuating rape culture. And you can Google these recourses that they recommend on any Metro PD or college campus website. So I believe that those are pretty clear, concrete examples that anyone can find. I'll leave the anecdotes aside. I think that's pretty empirical of how they are setting the culture, the Metro PD websites and the college campuses. Unfortunately, a lot of women have to choose between carrying the means to defend themselves, aka concealed carry and such, and facing expulsion. If a woman feels that she has to choose between carrying capsaicin spray, even a Walther product, hey, Walther sponsors Louder with Crowder, a pepper blaster, a taser, etc., and being expelled when faced with a rape, that's rape culture. A woman shouldn't have to choose between having the means to defend herself and choosing to defend herself, and following this very, very narrow recommendations by the culture, which is to say that when you see these gun-free zones in college campuses, if a woman on a gun-free zone chooses to have a firearm and then defend herself with that firearm when faced with a rape, she may face expulsion for breaking those rules. That's rape culture. That is absolutely 100% rape culture. So I believe I've made my case pretty clear. I hope you see this. I really appreciate the everything you do at Louder with Crowder. Look forward to being a Mug Club member. And I hope you continue the Change My Mind series. It's really great. This country needs it. Thank you so much. Let me know if this hopefully changed your mind.